You're watching the Fox 5 News at 5.
Well, today is Equal Pay Day, sort of a symbolic holiday, if you will, meant to draw attention to the income inequality that's still happening in this country between men and women. There has been progress, but as many of us know, there still needs to be work to be done. So joining us to talk about the impact for women is financial advisor Laurie Itkin. All right, Laurie, we're both women. We both feel this. Women said to make 76 for every dollar, 76 cents that is, for every dollar that a guy makes. How realistic is that?
Well, hi, Jen. It's good to be here. It is an important issue, and in fact, in California, actually, women do a little better. We're paid 84 cents on the dollar if you average everything out. But I think what really has to be understood is that the wage gap discrepancy, that the disparity in the past is really taking its toll on women now, because it truly affects how much they have saved for their retirement. Vanguard Group, which is a very reputable investment firm, had a survey last year, and it found of all the 401k plans it manages for corporations and other employers, men's accounts were 50% higher than women's. I almost fell off my chair when I read that, and that's because women historically have been paid less for similar jobs, and it really shows after years of compounding. It's a real mess.
Wow, that is really interesting. 50% is a big number. You mentioned California, Laurie. There was a law that was passed at the beginning of this year. Can you kind of explain that? And it sounds like California is somewhat leading the pace when it comes to the rest of the country.
It is, and though some people will argue, should really government get involved, or is this a private sector issue? And I really think that government and the private sector need to play a role, and they are. We've had some federal laws over the years. President Obama signed an executive order, and as you said, California, this January came into effect. We have one of the strongest equal pay laws on the books. So I think the government has done everything it can, and we're seeing employers are really playing a role in that. If you look at a lot of the companies in Silicon Valley in our state of California, a lot of the high-tech companies have said we pay women the same as we pay men. I mean, these companies include Apple, Intel, Microsoft.
Yeah.
So I think that's great to see that happening, that change.
Let me ask you, Laurie, this is an easy topic to sort of have this national holiday about, but the reality is talking about your salary is kind of an awkward thing. Like, what do? Go to your friends and be like, hey, Andrew, how much money do you make? And let's go ahead and compare our salaries. It's weird. So what kind of advice do you have for someone, for women especially, to sort of close that gap and find out if they're getting paid what they should be getting paid?
Well, what you've observed, Jen, is the biggest problem there is. Women need to be comfortable negotiating for what they're worth. The studies have shown that when we get job offers, we typically don't negotiate the starting salary, but men have no problem doing so. We are less likely to go to our bosses to get a raise. And what I think is happening is that women need to develop that confidence. But what women are doing in huge numbers is they are starting their own businesses. Take San Diego alone. We have an organization called Hera Hub, of which I'm a member, and it's a co-working space for hundreds of women entrepreneurs. And I'll tell you, there's no wage gap if you're deciding what you pay yourself as your own boss.
Right, and I think you bring up such a good point of just that confidence of saying you are worth a certain amount, that for some reason men feel more comfortable saying that, and women need to become a little bit more assertive with that as well. Laurie, always
Absolutely.
Great to have you here and talking about something that definitely affects at least more than half of this country. Laurie, thank you. Let's get it now over to Andrew.